Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome, and thank you so much. And trust and pray you had a very beautiful, blessed, productive, safe, and enjoyable weekend, and the week ahead will even be better. You know why? Well, we're going to pray to be a part of it. Want you to be a part of this first discussion as we talk to our friends from Cayman Enterprise City. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village. Convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And thanks too for all that you do in the community to make it stronger. And thanks for the opportunity to share with you as we welcome Miss Bianca Mora. Good afternoon. Life is great when great people come together to do great things. So welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, happy to be back. And yeah, happy to bring another little talk about what we're doing with the community. This time on regards to Tech Talks. All right. Well, joining us equally is Mr. Keane Smith, the marketing director at Airview Media, together with our very own digital marketing manager in the government, Ms. Amy Hayward. I like the fact that in this new era we find ourselves, the digital platform now. I make no bones about it. I love technology, but I want it to be where it serves me, not where I'm the servant of it. And so, young as I were once, I loved the idea of watching those movies where everything was digitized. Your house was this thing of the future. Now, wait a minute, the future is now. So, Mr. Keane, from your perspective, as we welcome you, just a quick, hello, good afternoon, welcome, and whatever you wish to share about yourself, then we ask Ms. Amy as we get into our discussion.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. So, yeah, I think this interesting subject of a post-digital world, which is, I think what that kind of means in my mind, if you like, is that having a website, being digital is just the norm now. There's nothing, that's not, it used to be you need a website, you need to be mobile friendly and all those things. None of that's different now. If those are the fundamental basics that should be there. So I think it's now about what now you have these platforms. Having them, being on social media is not enough, right? There's more to it now. How do we use those platforms to actually, in general sense, most of the time marketing is there to help drive revenue. Obviously, government's a little bit different, but in the in the private sector, it's generally there to help drive a business result or sales or whatever it is. So, understanding how websites, mobile apps, all of these things, or social media platforms, email marketing, how what that looks like today is very different than it was a couple of years ago. And I think that's part of what this post-digital. It's getting into personalization and things like that, which we can, get into.
Let's do that because, when I had here way back when, and the early days of marketing for me, we talked about product differentiation. We talk about market segmentation. Now, like you said, you're not just being lost if you're not in this digital era. You need to be constantly. So from that perspective, Ms. Amy, it's not enough, as Keane said, to be present. You got to be present consistently and differently and always and forever and everything. So how do we live with that? Because young folks like you, this is your forte. Younger folks like me, yeah, I still like, honestly, black and white photography. I still want my dark room, but I can't find a solution to develop a film. What is film anyway? That's the world that we've changed immediately.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think the thing you have to remember about being online and a digital world is also not only you have product differentiation, but there's someone for everything now. Right. So you don't have to make a product that suits everyone. You just have to make a thing that suits someone at the right time. And I think you can see a lot of brands are doing really well now. And it's kind of exciting to see people branch out into really bespoke things and be very successful. So you might be really into like macrame, making those kind of things for homes. Maybe years ago that'd be very hard to find your people because they're spread across the world, but now you can reach those people. If you reach them at the right time, you'll have a really dedicated audience. So it's really exciting to see that. And with online, there also comes new communities. So we used to be tied by location, and the people we know are the people next door, the people around us. And we still do that, but now at least you can also find people who share your interests, and you might have some really unique interests. But you can reach them across the world. So the way we interact with social media has changed, right, as well, because we might be a part of 7, 8, 9 different groups, really niche things that we really love. And that really, it really changes the way we behave as people, and maybe in marketing as well, the way you need to approach people.
That's the interesting thing. I mean, we hear there's nothing new under the sun. And more in this post-digital world, we're realizing how that is so true. And the people we know, the people that we reach, you could be in Cayman and there's somebody that in some remote place, as long as they have access to this digital domain, they're your friends, they're your customers.
I think everything that's just been kind of said there is touching on the fact that it's about the people now, right? It's finding the audience and segmenting that, and that's really, it's to Amy's point. You can. If we go back before digital, like if you had a niche product, the only place that would generally work would be in a big city like London or New York that had the audience, that had that footprint. Where if you had a shop that sells just globes, I don't know, something completely random like that.
And red globes are that very specific.
Okay, yep, and red globes. That would only ever be a possibility of doing that in one of the big major cities. Now you can do that anywhere. Now it's you have that online environment where you can create and find those audience. So it's besides obviously having a good product and service is obviously still the basics. You have to have that. But then it's about finding and understanding who your persona is. Who is my target customer? And it's no longer trying to talk to everybody online. It's about finding your people, understanding what they're looking for, and then talk to them in the places online, because obviously now we have many different places that people congregate, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on a website, other communities, Discord. So you got to understand where your audience is.
That's what I want to ask, because go back to your point. You create. Let's say you're in Cayman, you create. You're the red globe specialist. It's not a critical base. It's manufactured with bamboo, cut in Bacchus. Nowhere else. So you're very specific, and you set up a shop just down the street. Whether it's London or in Cayman. That's your audience. Now that audience becomes global. But how then do you get that? Again, let's take the remote person somewhere who has now created this thing, and they've gone to the 8 billion people in the world. But you're one little entity in this wide digital platform across the globe. There was a day, and you guys are the tech experts, where SEO, not the CEO, this whole search engine optimization was the key thing. Is that still relevant? Is there something else that puts you where you need to be so that you're on all of the platforms to get a widest audience as possible? I mean, the airplane way back when with the streamer behind it was the way that you met over the fear. Now it's, a little bit different, Miss Amy.
SEO is still important, but I think we're realizing it's not as important as we thought. So being the top of Google still serves you well, but you don't need to focus your life on it, because like Kane said, where people are is important. And what we tend to do in marketing and communications is we study people, and we try and work out where would this type of person go for information. Like who do they trust and who will they ask? and then how can we provide them with the right information? So if I'm obsessed with red globes, do I have a Discord chat where I ask people all about globes, or am I on Reddit on a globe thread? You know, like where am I going for this information? And then what am I looking for? Am I looking for a red globe, or am I looking for the best polish for my red globe?
Yeah.
You know, like, and if you're selling red globes, you know, that's what you do. You work out what people are looking for, what's their challenge, and how do you convenience them? How are you the solution to their challenge? Right. And then what we know about online now is once you have someone, if you're a genuine and authentic brand, once you have a customer, you could keep them for life, because authenticity is what people want, right? Like a real, you know, a personality behind a brand.
Right. So that gone are the days potentially, are the days being numbered for that slick salesman, that person, whether celebrity or otherwise, that is tied to the brand. Now it's authenticity. So the psychology behind the purchase, back to sort of the economics, the neuroeconomics that we're seeing in the way things are positioned and presented, and how the customer responds. So maybe when we come back from the break, tell us more about that. You know, get into some of the things, because honestly, for me, I always approach this from two perspectives. One, I only know what I don't know. That's the only thing I know. You know, and then two, like the child coming to Scripture, you need to come with a new mind and appreciate it, and that you can learn more. But if you leverage that, if you employ the experts like yourselves, you take the media and you embrace it, you could position yourself for those customers for life, but also be a new brand in itself. Maybe we can talk more about that, Miss Bianca. You lead the discussion. I will learn. If you love me, I will laugh. At the end of the day, maybe we'll share some love. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Freedom, Cayman Rack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vant Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
Are you a transportation provider or tour operator on land or sea? Take your skills to the next level by attending the free Aquila Driver Excellence course. Learn more about how to deliver excellent service and make sure your passengers are safe. But hurry, as there are only 2 sessions remaining. Wednesday, 25th of August at 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and Wednesday, the 1st of September from 1:30 to 3 p.m. You can attend online via Zoom or in person at the Pride Training Room. Deadline to register is the Monday before each session. For more information or to book your session, head to aquila.ourcayman.ky. That's aquila.ourcayman.ky. Once again, that's aquila.ourcayman.ky. Don't miss out on this free internationally recognized training brought to you by the Ministry and Department of Tourism.
Radio Cayman News.
Wow, it's been a while since I've seen anything like this.
The road conditions are treacherous.
The winds have really picked up.
Island appears to have fared extremely well.
A lot of trees down, scattered all across the yard.
Woo! Strong winds and rain is the scene where I'm at.
Radio Cayman, your official source. Hear it here first.
Talk today. But I do have some questions.
Talk today. Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And it's a Monday. What better way to engage the brain, to nurture the senses, and to allow people to appreciate as much to be learned and shared. Happy for the company of Bianca Mora, Kane Smith, and Miss Amy Hayward as we talk about digital marketing. And there's something coming up very shortly that we can maybe invite people. But I say this, and Miss Norma probably shakes her head and goes, "Don't say that publicly, man." But technology, as I said at the outset, should be the thing that we embrace, because however we look at it, if we go back to the early days of the agrarian society, to the industrial revolution, and then 30, 40 years ago we talk about the information age. Now it's something different, but it's post-digital world in which we find ourselves. Everything is interconnected. Everyone is an influencer. There are words and things that are being said and used now that were never part of our parlance yesterday. Today, now they're commonplace. So from that perspective, Kane, when we find ourselves in this place, and whether we're the millennial, or whether the person that's probably going to celebrate his next millennial birthday, we better be on board, or the train. It's not even a train anymore.
I mean, it goes back to where your audience is, right?
Uh-huh.
You can't be on everything on every platform, and nor should you be, because then if you're if you're targeting teenagers or young people in the gaming industry, you're probably not going to be on Facebook, because that's not where they are anymore.
It's old people.
They're on distant.
Some tall.
But that's just natural progression of life.
Thanks.
You'll get there. You'll find.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, so it becomes very overwhelming very quickly, right? Of all these things. Should I be on TikTok? Should I be doing this? And I always come back to, where is your audience? Where are they online? Where are they communicating? And focus on those platforms. Don't try and be, the biggest brands in the world aren't on every single platform for a reason, because sometimes their audience is not there. So
maybe one day we'll come back with a roundtable discussion on the sort of the shift in geopolitical landscape and the economics and the politics behind it. Like, I think of TikTok and the arguments between one world government and another one, as to who owns what and where, and influence and the like. But maybe we could do that, because it isn't normal. Miss Amy, I like the intellect. Jump right in here, Miss Amy. Tell me where I'm going.
No,
go right ahead.
Just agreeing. I think it is interesting. So we have, with the world now, and companies can exist anywhere, and that creates kind of tensions about where places are headquartered, right? So Facebook is headquartered in the US, and they're happy with that. But if it was somewhere else, they wouldn't be so happy with that. And it's interesting how different nations have different social media platforms that they are tied to for one reason or another.
Right.
Just like in China for a long while, Weibo was their biggest thing, and they banned Facebook. Facebook wasn't allowed, primarily probably because it's a US thing, and they don't trust the US. So it's interesting to think how, while we are all connected across the internet, there are still some borders and still some limitations that are set up. Even if they're, you can't touch them, they still exist.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't want to get away from that, but that's what, from my perspective, what fascinates me. That, as you shared, companies for tax or other reasons have been, re-domicile. Right, we see companies because of maybe the legislation and the infrastructure being sort of established or headquartered somewhere else, and then yet they're beyond the reach of others for different reasons, good and bad and indifferent. But where's the disruptors? Now, when you were in school, at least back then, we had a slate board in marbles, and you were disruptive, you were sent out of the class. Now, if you're a disruptor, and you're a good thing. Kane, were you a disruptive?
I was very disruptive in school, for sure, yeah.
I don't think so, man.
I mean, I guess the question of like where is the it's going to be the at the end of the day, a lot of it is going to be those people coming out of school and university that see the world in a different way, right? And those are the people that will think about things the way that us older folks now.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, man.
I mean, I think there's a really good example of this. We talked briefly about photography, right? And film. So if we take Kodak, for example, most people don't realize Kodak invented the digital camera. They invented digital photography, but they didn't pursue it and drive it because it would disrupt their own business. So they chose not to do that. So at a point when you've got Instagram first launched, they had 12 employees. Kodak went bankrupt, and Instagram was sold to Facebook for whatever it was.
A lot of money.
Several billion. And so you've got 12 people and an organization like Kodak. That's a disruptor, right? That's an extreme example of it. And I think that's the reality of what happens with digital now is this is now available to anybody. Anybody can do this. Anybody can create a company now with very low, in general sense, very low cost to start a company and start offering a service or anything like that, So there's many disruptions coming. Education disruption. Again, if you want to learn anything, you can find a course for it online now, right? And there's this community of people now that create courses and teach you. It's finding those niches.
Right. Look at the online, learning community. There's universities of pool. We see the sites there, and I guess I always find that words, at least in English, I think English is probably the weakest, one of the worst languages, and probably most difficult to learn. Look at the word love. I love chocolate. I love my dog. So seeing love, it's a different emotion. Other languages have stuff. There's a caller wanting to jump in, but before we jump that call, can I maybe ask of you then, in looking at all of that, talk about TikTok. I mean, explain it to me, but let's take the caller and let's see where we go. If I remember what I was going to ask, will you get there? Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, that's a deep subject that you're roaming around in there this afternoon.
Yeah, I believe so, sir. And I stepped in some stuff earlier.
I didn't. I just tuned in. What caught my ear was this Kodak thing. But even going back further than that was the Underwood typewriter company. That had the market pre-World War II. I mean, everything was Underwood. And right after, I guess it was during the war, more or less, or right at the end of the war, IBM came out with a little electric typewriter. And Underwood didn't think it was worth a dime. And they kept on building the mechanic stuff that you had to almost have a 9-pound hand to get to type anything on it. And in no time at all, IBM took over the market. Underwood went under. You never hear of Underwood anymore. But at one time, that was the typewriter of the day.
Yep. Now people don't know what's a typewriter. Yeah, but that's the world, man.
Yeah, and I think it all goes back to, I guess, vision. People with some vision. It is said that Marconi, of him, when he tried to flip a signal across the Atlantic, when he was listening, they did a computer analysis of whatever evidence that remains, what they could come up with, or what they thought that Marconi heard, and the computer analysis of it was Marconi didn't hear anything. He didn't hear the signal coming back. Now, if he had quit at that, we might not have even discovered the digital process.
Yeah.
So
that's it, man.
But it all rolls around back to looking at the past, letting the past shine a bright mirror on the path ahead.
Indeed.
Which a lot of people, a lot of countries, a lot of societies, a lot of communities, a lot of us don't really give that enough sensitivity.
Mm-hmm. We've got to forget the past sometimes.
You have to really look at it, and there's no telling where this digital thing is going to go. In fact, it might just go to where it swallows all of us up, and something else will emerge.
Mm-hmm.
A robot community, robot society.
Well, we've seen a lot of people do that already.
It's already there.
That's already happened.
Yeah. Hey.
It's already happening.
Yeah.
45 years ago, 50 years ago, I was involved for a time with artificial intelligence, what was called voice recognition at that time, and where we were at with that, and where we're at today. It was an IBM process that they were promoting, and you can look back. The same thing happened with what you were talking about, Kodak, with International Cash Register.
Mm-hmm.
They had the market for any kind of cash register that
NCR, yeah,
that you wanted.
Yep.
And they kept on manufacturing the ones where you had to crank. Now, I don't know if anybody, years ago I had little experience in that. I had to crank. I worked at one of the biggest superstores of the era, and that's 65 years ago, 70 years ago. And you had to punch the numbers in, and you had to crank it. IBM, again, came up with the electronic calculator or cash register and took the market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nobody seems to. Well, I guess some of the visionaries of that day that was in IBM now own their billion-dollar companies. One of them died. A couple of years ago. But the other one is still operating, thinking out into outer space. Maybe he'll take us on the wrong path sometime. But anyway.
All right. Good to be reminded. In respectful, thank you very much for that, sir.
All right.
God bless. As we perhaps wrap up our discussion with Bianca, we'll get into. But I was just to call a shot, reminded me of Panasonic. Not long ago, Panasonic was sort of what it was a tag, slightly ahead of its time. You could use your telephone, call it up, and program your VCR. But didn't catch on. Right? Now, if we don't have a DVR, some of us can't watch. I can't even call it television anymore. How it has changed. Yeah. Right? So this the tech talks are coming up with Miss Bianca. Tech City, the digital Cayman, and the tech talks, and the fact that it's just more than just the people who are on the periphery or people who are interconnected. The community has to appreciate that this is where we are. We're going to probably see voting change significantly. We're going to see how we engage with governments, how we report outages, for instance, how emergencies are sort of managed and how things are responded. So it's no longer an interconnected world within your community. It's interdependent. Give us a preview of the upcoming tech talks. And
so the next one coming up is on in September, Thursday. Don't know what day it lands on, but it's the second Thursday of every month, and this one is specifically on crypto with Mario from WBM, a special economic zone within Cayman Enterprise City. And these tech talks are hosted every month, and they kind of cover diverse topics. So there's virtual assets, digital marketing, crypto, tech education, quantum computing. So there's a wide selection of topics. It's a great opportunity to go and network. The one in August was very well attended, and that one again specifically on digital marketing. And if you want to hear more about the digital marketing and all of that, there's also the SIMPA conference coming up. and that's September 3rd. Tickets are still available. So if that was of interest, learning more about digital marketing and kind of how to target this new post-digital world, it's a great event to attend.
Well, Ms. Amy, as we sort of thank you and Keen both for sharing this. I mean, the Simple Conference is on the 3rd. I think the 9th is the next Tech Talk, the 2nd.
I think so, yeah.
Right. But for the Simple Conference, who can attend and how can we get tickets?
You can get tickets online. So the website is simpa.ky, CIMPA.ky. Pretty much anyone can attend. So if you have an interest in marketing, if you want to get into marketing, if you work in marketing, I'd recommend going. If you do business development, it's quite good to attend as well. If you work in sales, we have a lot of people who come along who work in sales as well. Our speakers are, we have local speakers, but we also have international speakers, and they're really well renowned. So it's great to be able to have some time with them. This is going to be digital, but there'll be time for questions and that kind of stuff. It's nice to network with people and really, talk about what everyone's doing differently and kind of bounce ideas off of each other. It's a whole day event and it's really good fun. Exactly,
man. This is where it really is. So, keen from that perspective, maybe I'll take license and between you and Rich, maybe come back on. We can certainly have that chat in a separate domain, but talk to the whole idea of the generational shift. Miss Amy, you can, if it's okay and you feel like slumming with three guys, join us, man, because I want us to get to that space where we see this isn't going anywhere. It's kind of like that thing that we've all been facing for the last 18 months. What does the politicians say? Never let good crisis go to waste. Well, this isn't going anywhere. This is going to become the norm, and it's going to become even more entrenched and more accepting as we maybe lose ourselves in the technology. Maybe we're merging, integrating ourselves with the humanoid-like thing, and as we forget that the camera is always on, that the voice is always listening, being recorded, that this is, whatever your perspective, this is the new world that we're in, right? Sort of closing thoughts for you, Mr. Smith.
Closing thoughts. Yeah, I mean, I think bringing it back to marketing, I guess, is I guess a takeaway or one thing I always kind of recommend to everybody is it's all about storytelling, right? And there's always 3 components to a story. There's a guide, there's a villain, and there's a hero. And often companies position themselves as the hero. We're great, we're amazing, we've got this. And what you actually should be doing is positioning the customer as the hero in the story. You're the guide. So always kind of, put when you're putting stuff out there, how are you going to improve somebody's life? How does your problem solve a solution for you? And focus on that, as opposed to talking about yourself, I think is one of the biggest takeaways, I think, is very commonly misdone, if you like.
Not unlike, what we reminded, humility before honor. So stop making you the company, but become more sort of centered on your clientele. Maybe a lot of us can take away with that and see where it takes us. Miss Bianca, if you wish, call to action, you sort of remind of us, as you wish, ma'am. Always a pleasure to you and Caitlin and Charlie, to join us.
Yeah, and I'll just confirm it is the 9th of September, the next Tech Talks.
Time and where? Do you remember?
At
upstairs there by the next place now, please.
It's at KPMG.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm very grateful that you guys are taking your time. But thank you for sharing. As people start to listen, we joke and jest, those of us that are as young as Keen or as old as Abel, that we start to appreciate that technology is here and it's how we embrace it, how we leverage it, and how we appreciate that it's not unlike anything. You pick up the encyclopedia. What is it you're looking for? Well, you don't just take the whole volume. Maybe you go to one section, right? Just knowing what you're doing and understanding why you're doing it. This evening is always a pleasure. As you walk across the street into the new $100 million building, enjoy your afternoon. And Miss Bianca, enjoy the rest of the time.
Thank you.
Can you look out for me, man?
Thanks.
All right, to our listeners, going to pause and take a short break, come back for a few minutes of open line, and after the headline news at 1, well, you're going to rejoin us because, the cleanup is underway. We're going to tell you how, where, and when. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
46 years of affordable, dependable, quality furniture is what Tomlinson Furniture has been giving the Cayman community. Come celebrate their anniversary with them. Sale starts Monday, August 23rd through to Tuesday, August 31st. Huge savings on everything in stock, including the mattress gallery. Never seen prices like these before on bedroom sets, solid wood chests, dining sets, TV stands. Spin the wheel with each purchase for a chance to win instant cash back and other prizes. No setup fees, delivery island-wide. Great looks, best prices, always. Tomlinson Building, Walkers Road.
The HSA Specialist Clinic has relocated to a new, modern, state-of-the-art facility at Smith Road Center to offer you a better patient experience. Receive care from top specialists in chiropractic, complementary and alternative medicine, neurology, ENT, urology, pain management, and more. Our orthopedic and telemedicine clinics remain at the Cayman Islands Hospital campus. Please remember to bring your own face mask when visiting any HSA location. Visit our website, hsa.ky, to learn more. At the HSA, you matter to us.
Back to school sale at Optical Outlook is on.
What? Summer just started?
We know, right?
I got you. Cool.
As I was saying, Optical Outlook back to school sale is on now. From now until September 1st, any student gets 50% off. That's half off lenses. Offer valid at all 3 locations: J. Scott Plaza in West Bay, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Cayman Bragg. Call 746-2020 to make your appointment today. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook, Cayman's premier optical provider.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And as we get ready to go into our headline news at 1, I just want to remind you that right after the headline news at 1, we're going to have the distinct pleasure of joining Honorable Sabrina Turner together with Mr. Richard Sims to come to chat with us. If you'd allow me, and if you say, oh, you're being, not as objective and impartial, well, I'll accept your comment. But I love being a public servant. I look at all of the public servants across, the entire country, the pride that they have with which they do their jobs, the times that I've come in just to drop something off or to check on something, whether it's a weekend or late in the evening, and to see the lights on in the government buildings, because the staff across all the different agencies and departments, the units and the sections and all of the little bits and pieces that make up the wonderful civil service that we have, they're busily at work. Not because the budget is coming up and going to be presented to the Legislative Assembly, Parliament, House of Parliament, do we call it now? But because they're industrious. Not because they didn't do anything all day, but because they're still working. And the day hasn't ended, even though it's been 12 plus hours that they've been at their jobs. Not because they've taken a long lunch. In fact, some haven't. The lunch is still on their desk, getting cold, probably needs to be discarded. They work extremely hard. I'm very, very proud of our civil servants. And if you see it now, relative to the passage of the tropical storm, but we also see it in the pride in many of the employees across the different companies, from the public utilities and the like. And very grateful that we live in a community that can and does come together. Maybe it's why I get frustrated and infuriated by some of the nonsense that we seem to quickly spew without thought. Maybe it's why, if I might say, because she's been a public champion like me, Ms. Danielle Coleman from HMCI, that we can and should become more actively engaged in our communities and be a part of the CERT teams, the community emergency response teams. They build stronger communities. We learn through that who our neighbors are. We become, more connected and grounded within our communities. We understand the skill sets that our neighbors have. We learn how to leverage who we are to the betterment and to the benefit of our entire society, starting by knowing and being involved and invested in our communities. So after headline news, we get a chance to hear more about that. But let's take a call before we go up to the news. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you doing?
My good friend, how are you today, man?
I'm very good. Very
All
good.
right. Glad to hear from you. Always a pleasure, man. And listen, I didn't say to you last time, but, when Kathy was hosting the show last Monday, and you said, she has a good voice and good things. I appreciate that, too. But thanks for remembering me.
No, you was joking,
I know, man. I know, man.
No,
all right.
we was, joking. Anyway, quickly, I know I have 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
First, you see, during this disaster, we see some response from some of the MLAs. I think it's very good. I mean, we see more work being done in North Side. I think it's very good to see MLA working. And also, I want to, publicly, if the news I hear true that the government is buying the land where is the fishermen. So I want to congratulate the government for doing so. I mean, those fishermen need to stay there, and this place need to be, for the fishermen. I think it's a very good thing. I'm not sure if this news reached to me is correct or not, but from what I gather from some of the fishermen, that is correct, and it's a very good thing. I thank the Premier, the members of Cabinet for doing so. I mean, preserving something Caymanian to the Caymanian people is a very important thing. I mean, the little places on the beach left out, and this is one of the places represent the heritage of the fishermen in Cayman. And also, I want to say we are happy that Mr. Moses Korkonol is fine and well from the incident happened in Cayman Brac Airport, and it was God blessing that he is fine and well, and that's a good news we hear. I mean, it's tragic what happened, yes, but thank God nobody hurt, and we thankful that Mr. Korkonol is fine and well. Also, Dwayne, we want to see. Now we are going toward the opening, and I have a notice about this quarantine. People who come here on quarantine, and I noticed that some of them, they are mixed up with people when they are quarantined, and that's very dangerous. And I think we need to see more rules and more restrictions for those in quarantine. If they broke up that restrictions, it have to be more jail time, and it have to be more money fine.
Well,
I think we not supposed to be rushed to open the border, Dwayne, because I see that we're not controlling this quarantine issue. This is a small country. If one person with the danger corona come here, the danger type, the Delta one or the other type, that's what I want to say. We need to slow down in this opening a little bit. It's better off. And
all right.
More restriction, more rules, and we need to know we are doing the right thing to open the country and the citizens are safe. Thank you, Dwayne, and you have a good day.
All right, thank you. Thank you very, very much indeed. I'm going to pause now and take a break. When we come back, please rejoin us. Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Ms. Sabrina Turner, together with Mr. Richard Sims, are expected to be our guests. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman,
the voice,
the heart, the soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Economics and Statistics Office releases the Cayman Islands Compendium of Statistics 2020. It reveals that the total number of families who received assistance from the Needs Assessment Unit increased in 2020 to 2,558 compared to 1,907 in 2019. In international news, the UK has agreed a contract for 35 million more doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. The doses will be delivered from the second half of next year and will help future-proof the UK's vaccination program. The UK has hours now, not weeks, to evacuate people from Afghanistan, the Defense Secretary has said. Ben Wallace said troops would leave Kabul's airport when the U.S. withdrew, which is due to happen on August 31st. At an emergency meeting of G7 world leaders on Tuesday, Prime Minister Boris Johnson will ask U.S. President Joe Biden for an extension of that deadline in order to allow more flights. But a spokesman for the Taliban said it would not support a deadline extension. American-born French performer Josephine Baker will be entered into Paris's Pantheon Mausoleum, making her the first black woman to receive the honor. The government says Baker will be inducted into the monument in November. The Pantheon is a burial place for celebrated French icons such as scientist Marie Curie and writer Victor Hugo. Born in St. Louis, Missouri in 1906, Baker rose to international stardom in the 1930s after moving to France to pursue a career in show business. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Always separate debris from household garbage after a hurricane hits. Debris includes roofing materials, downed tree branches, and metals. All items of debris must be placed in separate piles to the front of the property or at a side that is easily accessible to collection trucks. Debris must be placed in a location that will not cause obstruction to roadways or come in contact with electrical lines. For more post-hurricane waste management tips, visit the DEH website at www.deh.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. And thank you so much for joining us. And please allow me to extend a very warm talk today. Welcome to our guests and to each of you for listening, joining, and sharing your thoughts with us. The Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Mr. Sabrina Turner, joins us together with the Director for Environmental Health, Mr. Richard Sims. And, nothing would happen sometimes without the marketing, the PR, and the like. So, in a bit, Ms. Yolanda can join us to that. But if I could, Honorable Minister, maybe start with you first, not just because protocol dictates, but because, well, it's you. I mean, it is you. Good afternoon, Ma'am. How are you?
Good afternoon, and good afternoon, Cayman Islands, and your listening and viewing audience. It's a pleasure to be here today, and we're grateful coming out at the back end of Tropical Storm / Hurricane Grace, but we felt it was important under the Ministry of Health and Wellness. DEH does fall directly under my remit, and everything you've been hearing in the past, I'd say 72 hours more, has been about vegetative waste, clippings, but we're going to more layman's term, any bush that you have in your yard or fruit trees or limbs. That's where we're putting our focus on today. And I know everybody's calling, I have this dropped down, I need it collected, and there are groups out in the communities, and I'll go more into that. Yes, I think I proved that yesterday. But there are cleanup exercises that are on their way, and I thought it was important for the Director of DEH, Mr. Richard Sims, to come on the program this afternoon. And thank you for Radio Cayman for giving us this platform. It's such short notice, but if it wasn't of utmost importance, we would not have been here at this time.
Well, no, and thank you too for showing, and as I was saying before the break, that I'm honestly very proud to be a public servant. Always, from the very first days of wanting to know what I wanted to do in my life, I knew I wanted to be within the public service. I would joke and jest and say, whether elected or appointed, because we have that heart of service.
Yes.
And as the Honourable Minister said, in the bush that we have in the yard, some of us are married into the bush family. So we were talking about the bush group. I'm just kidding.
Not by any means questioning anyone with using the correct terminology, but sometimes you just have to get as layman as you can.
Indeed.
Yes.
So, but Mr. Sims, I mean, your leadership and your incredible team, I've always seen them early in the mornings. Let's say, our first point of contact with the refuse collection, rain or shine, public holiday or otherwise, at least in my area. If I wasn't up, sometimes I wouldn't hear them, and we complain, but unnecessarily so. They're doing a job that is phenomenal. They're doing a job that many of us don't understand the pride with which they do it. But that's just one part of it. Now we're getting into everybody wants the yard back spick and span, and they're crying over the down trees.
Yes.
So welcome, sir.
All right, Mr. Dwayne Sterling Eubanks, thank
Sterling
you.
Dwayne Eubanks, SDE. Don't follow Mr. Dolan.
Yes, good afternoon to you, sir, and to the listening audience. And I want to thank you for inviting us into your studios. First and foremost, I want to say a big thank you to my team that are on the ground actually doing the work out there. As part of the emergency response team, we fall under the infrastructure cluster, and debris management and removal is my responsibility. Just after the immediate passing of Tropical Storm Grace, we had a tremendous team on the ground immediately following that. And I want to give big kudos to the NRA. They have some wonderful team members out there. That are very dedicated to the cause, just like my team as well. We have some, as you mentioned, some real hardcore, full of pride civil servants that works for us. These people understand the dangers of the work. High winds or not, we're out there, as you mentioned earlier. Rain or shine, we're in it. And most times, a lot of people don't get to appreciate the work that they do. When you realize that after a storm, you can just come out of your homes and start driving, the roads are clear. Right? And you don't get to see the people who are actually doing that, because most times you won't get to see them doing the jobs because they're in the heights of the things, and the all clear are not issued until after they have completed their task for you to move about freely. So for now, one of the things I wanted, we've been getting a lot of calls about people wanting to remove vegetation from their properties and stuff like that. So what I want to make clear is that, yes, we will be coming in to the communities to assist with removing those, but and we know that everybody wants it done now. We only have so much people to do the job. Without machines, but we're hard-working people, and we do need our rest times as well. Yes. So we want people to appreciate that. That we will be coming to you, but what we're expecting is that to remove is vegetative waste only at this point. So what we don't want to see is people putting out the fridge and stove and all these different things out into the streets for us to collect. We are only concentrating right now on the vegetative waste. And for those persons who can, we want to encourage, it's about teamwork, right? You help us, help you. For example, when I say that, we have established different sites, disposal sites around the island. Eastern Civic Center. One is located at Anton Borden Drive, and the other one is located at Point Dexter, where the NRA storage is located, and the West Bay Ed Bush Stadium. Right, for those persons who can and deliver their vegetative waste to those sites, that would be a great deal for us and helpful for our team, that we can collect directly from those sites. Because you can imagine we have only 3 grab trucks, for example, right? That is servicing this entire island. And I can guarantee you, Dwayne, you have over 22,000 homes in this island, right?
So what's the math?
No, I just want just exactly. think about this for a second, because everybody wants us to be at their home now. and they want their home clean now, right? But first of all, let's make this clear. We're not going to be the ones to actually clean your home. That's your responsibility,
Yeah.
And once you place your vegetative waste in front of your home, then we'll come and collect it after that, right? But that part is your responsibility, not for the Department of Environmental Health to come and actually cut trees and clear bushes. That's not what we're
You'll take it away if we do the work.
You do the work, we take it away, right? That's your responsibility. But we want to make people understand that what for right now, what we're dealing with is vegetative waste, right? So we're actually putting a schedule together as we speak, because, like I say, everybody wants it now, but we can't afford to do it. If you call me now, I'm coming to your house now, because we only have 3 grab trucks, and these trucks can only move about 10 loads per day. Right, because if you think about the time it takes to come to your one house, spend about 20 minutes to actually pick up everything that you have, and then truck it back to the site or the landfill, right? And then come back again, because some people's homes may take one trip, one load. Some may take 4, 5 loads, depending on how many trees you had planted in your yard.
Exactly.
Because I remember over the weekend somebody called me, telling me they had 15 trees, down in their yard, and how we're going to help with that, So. But those are the kind of things that we have to deal with, right? So what we're actually doing at the moment is we're putting a schedule together so we can organize ourselves, rather than, this person calling me about grab truck here, this person going grab truck service there. What we're actually going to do, we're putting a schedule together, and starting on Monday, we'll be clearing from West Bay. So we're based on the volume of stuff that we're seeing out there that needs to be collected. It will take us about a week in every district. So we want to concentrate on one district at a time. So we'll start into West Bay. Then we work ourselves into Georgetown the week after that, and then move into the eastern districts. Right? We have to plan these things like this, because we want to give people an opportunity to clean up their yards properly, rather than, because what we're seeing happening now, people calling for assistance, we go and we send a truck here, we send a truck there to clean up. Then the neighbors call back and say, oh, by the way,
it's ad hoc.
Yeah. And then, we'll, during the road clearance, we clear the street, everything is cleared, we move what we can move, and then people say, oh, by the way, you missed me. But they put this stuff out afterwards and then calling us back.
Exactly.
So what we want to do is make sure that we have this thing done in an organized fashion. So people are now being given sufficient notices. So they can start, okay, let me get all the trees cut up, everything stored properly. And then when we come in starting Monday, then everybody's ahead of the game. But for those who want it done now, you got to remember to help yourself and take it to the sites that has been established, because we have people working those sites every day. Because that's what the grab trucks are there for right at the moment. They're not there to go into the neighborhoods and so on.
Right.
They're actually clearing the sites so we can continue to create space every day.
All right. So when we come back from the break, then let me ask more, how the Honourable Minister lead us, but perhaps I say this now with the greatest respect. We always, in the past, used to expect an annual island-wide cleanup closer to Christmas. This is, almost October now, so to speak, right? This could roll into that as we do it by helping ourselves. So after the break, we talk more about it, the schedule, get people to appreciate a few things, and, perhaps, Mr. Nanda, join us as you wish. For those who are listening, we do have the Honourable Minister for Health and Wellness, under which Environmental Health falls. We have the Director. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands.
Captain Charles Leonard Kirkconnell, OBE 1922 to 2010. Captain Charles Kirkconnell has donated land on all 3 islands for projects close to his heart. In Cayman Brac, he donated the land on which now stand Faith Hospital, the Dental Clinic, and Kirkconnell Community Care Centre. The Booby Pond Reserve on Little Cayman began with his gift of a small strip of land along the pond, and in 2001 to 2002, he donated the land for a new church in Blossom Village. Bethel Baptist Church on Walkers Road, Georgetown, is built on land given to the church by Captain Charles and his brother. He represented the Sister Islands in the Legislative Assembly for almost 13 years, 8 of which he served on Executive Council, holding the portfolio of communications, works, and district administration. During his tenure, the road across the bluff was completed. The Aston Ruddy Civic Center was built, the Cayman Brac Airport runway was lengthened to 6,000 feet, and a new terminal and fire station were built. New docks were built on both Sister Islands, and a new Port Authority building was undertaken. Captain Charles and his wife Carol Jean Nee McIntosh have 5 children. Captain Charles Leonard Kirkconnell.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Summer, the season for backyard gatherings, beach parties, office socials, and camps for kids. Make the most of your summer party and leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters or double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go, with the option of a 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. Cater your summer with Subway. Visit subway.ky for menu options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Radio Cayman, your #1 community station, would like to remind you that we are in the hurricane season, and in order to survive a hurricane, you need to be prepared. If officials' sources say a hurricane is imminent, please board up or shutter up windows in your home or place of business. Remember to use good lumber, as makeshift boarding may actually cause more damage. Also put strong bracing on outside doors so that they are not blown off or blown in.
This hurricane advice was brought to you by Radio Cayman, your caring community radio station.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Say this with the greatest of pride and respect, and I want to say a special thanks. Not because it's, anything special or personal to me, but to our public servants. We love and support, recognize and respect them for what they've done. We have the Honorable Minister, Ms. Rowena Turner, the Director of Environmental Health, Ms. Richard Sims, together with Ms. Yolanda Morales Carvalho. Let me see my best Spanish. Morales Carvalho, the new PR manager over at the Mr. Sims, through you, sir, if I might ask you to respectfully introduce our new team member.
Yes, Dwayne, thank you. Miss Yolanda Morales Carvalho, she is our new Public Relations Officer for the Department of Environmental Health. So I'm sure in future you'll be hearing a lot from her. In terms of public communications that are going out, you'll see a lot more of that coming from her, and we welcome her on board to the team, and so far she's doing an awesome job for us, and certainly something I personally appreciate, and so you'll be hearing a lot more about Department of Environmental Health, what we do, because we want to get the opportunity to highlight more than a lot of people think we're just in the garbage business, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so the first thing you think of with Department of Environmental Health, you think in garbage and landfill.
Mm-hmm.
But the other side, we want people to appreciate in terms of, the food safety side of things, our engineering section that deals with all the plan and review of pools and all these different things, pool inspections, our environmental health officers who go out there dealing with district sanitations and so on. We have responsibility of training barbershops and beauty salon and food handlers and all these things across the island. So, and we have a lab team as well who make sure that all the food that you consume are sound. Mm-hmm. So, we want to highlight that aspect of our operation as well. But what people know about DEH is just the waste side of things, and there are a lot more to us than that, And so hopefully in the coming months and future ahead, we want to educate people, because I would like to see a lot more Caymanians involved in the environmental health side of stuff, of the business. So with education, they can understand that there's more to DEH than just waste.
I like that tagline.
Interesting. Yeah. More to DEH than just waste.
Yeah. So, but one of the things we also want to look at the end of this operation with all of these, because we want to encourage people to replant as much as they can,
or try to save
and save their plant as best as they can. But for the branches that we collect. We're going to go into a mulching operation as well at the end of all of this, so that farmers and or the enthusiast farmers who want to get out there and use some of the mulch and stuff, we will be giving that away. But they'll have to make their own arrangements for transportation. So
yeah.
Like I say, we'll do a lot, but we can't do everything for you. You have to learn to help yourself. You want it, you have to come get it.
So we're going to take it then, because that's the next thing, we're reusing. So we're taking all the vegetation, and again, as you said, Mr. Sims, to all of us, we just want vegetation, just the trees.
Just vegetative waste.
Just the vegetation. For now, nothing else.
We have found a few, especially on the Prospect side, across from Prospect Primary School, where persons were actually stopped from entering because we found regular household waste and metals, some plastics. That is not what that site is for. It is for just tree branches, clippings, vegetative waste. Yes, exactly. All the bush from your yard, trees that can't be saved, logs that have been cut. That's what we want at all of these sites. We don't want any other sort of materials at these sites.
And from that then, so you take it, put it into a central facility at the central landfill, process it into mulch, and then we can reuse it to help around our plants, whether it's a farmer or an enthusiast, as you said, for the moisture control, weed barrier, and the like.
Absolutely. Okay. And it's a way to feed back your plants to get them growing quickly again.
Okay. So. Exactly. Can I, before we continue, if Mr. Lando wishes, any comments that you want to share, only if you wish, pull the mic closer to you. And again, thanks for joining the team. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. I just want to say that I feel very, very proud of being part of this amazing team and the amazing kind of people working for the DEH. These people are very committed. They give all what they have, especially they give more than the 100%, more than what they pay for. So I was able to witness them working very late in the night and getting ready to help the government to do the final clearance for people to be able to return home or do whatever they have to do during the incident on Wednesday. But at the same time, this is part of a green team with a great leadership. And I also would like to take the opportunity, in addition to recognize members of the community who came together. And I saw a lot of unity, a lot of community spirit, and my neighbor helping me helping my neighbor. And that is something that sometimes we take for granted, but there are lessons that we need to learn from situations like what we recently experienced. So I think, yes, there is a lot of things that we need to improve, but we need to take the time to highlight and encourage people like them. There is always a positive in anything in life, and we need to have the opportunity to grab that and continue along.
And I appreciate you sharing that. If I can maybe ask us, as Mr. Lando shared, to be reminded of what we are as a people, the ethos that we have, that thing that's been inculcated into us, to help each other, to look not only for the positive, but to be our brother's keeper. And maybe with Sabrina as a stalwart in the community, but also as a part of the political leadership, to remind our people that we need to work together. And I say that to the sense that with great deference to all and with recognition that there will be some who may castigate me for it, but we created some sort of dependency and conditioning amongst our people where, let's contrast Ivan with Tropical Storm the other day. Immediately, as soon as it was safe, men of into our communities and started to, in a very safe, organized, somewhat ad hoc way, but somewhat organized within our communities, move the trees from the roads as best as we can. Now we're seeming to wait, and I think there are a couple of reasons. We're not sure, well, can we, like, as an example, the little stretch of road between the what's that? I call it the Salt Creek roundabout, heading south, coming to town, and the one going off to the public beach. Now, it's been renamed, but it's still a public beach to me. That's a sticking point. A little bit of trees knocked down there, and there were some guys who said, we should go move those trees. Then there were some guys who said, but who owns those trees? I'll be trespassing. And but we should move those trees, right? Not knowing and not wanting to damage property, not wanting to trespass, and not sure. Whereas in Ivan,
it was just done.
Yeah, it was just done.
Because it was the right thing to do.
And so we have that sort of uncertainty, and we also have, unfortunately, well, isn't government going to do that? So maybe I think back to the CERT teams. I will never stop singing their praises. I think they're amazing. The training that they, as individuals, receive in terms of safety as community can help us increasingly become better resourced as a community to come out and immediately help each other. Without it, but we have to be respectful and responsible. You can't clear one area today and then come back in the afternoon and it's debris all over the place again.
Well, I'm glad you actually brought that point up because yes, the CERT teams do assist, but from the elected arm now, putting on my elected hat.
Yes, ma'am.
As a government on Thursday, pretty much Wednesday was grace. That evening around 7 o'clock, the government met in caucus, and we all approved, we agreed that as elected officials, we would have actually deployed teams, get persons within our respective constituencies out and to be ahead of the game because we were on the ground, we know our people. So we were being proactive about it and seeing what we could do, and that in itself gave opportunities for persons to get a job for a short period of time. What was approved and made official then, that was the Thursday, was that $15,000 was given to all 19 elected officials, that we would be able to have a crew of 12 people, of 2 team leaders at $15 an hour, and then the other 10 persons selected from your community or within the surrounding area, $10 an hour. This pretty much could go for a week and a half, maybe maximum 2 weeks. What we are doing whilst we're out there, and that was clearing major arteries, roadways and stuff, and we do it. Some constituencies got moving a little quicker than others, and some people are just getting started. But what we were doing is trying to help the bigger DEH and NRA and to immediately deal with those residents who were putting their stuff out in a timely manner. Yesterday, pretty much my crew of, even though I got approval for 12 people, we've had 15 people. We have young people that are at my constituency office as early as 6:30 in the morning, ranging from age 13 to as much as in their 60s and 70s, who are eager, willing to work. And I must say, and it can be shown on the social media platform of the works that we've done, but I need the residents as well. And I think I can speak towards the whole island, that one particular road, Birch and Ammon Avenue, we cleared 3 times yesterday alone. And this morning when I did my drive-through again, the intersection of Ammon and Birch had tree clippings, made it look like we did nothing. So it's a cooperation as well of the residents, because when we run through, we wanted to make it look like we're working, but people have to also work along with us. Crews are out in their respective constituency. I know Minister Bryan, Mr. Saunders, all of the PAC team have been out and hitting the pavement running from Thursday, and that is what we're seeing. So as Mr. Sims, the director, says, they now are going to do an organized team, because I was calling Mr. Sims. Mr. J.E. Banks was calling Mr. Sims. We got Mr. Bernie, Mr. Miss McBeaver.
I didn't call him, but I will know.
I want this grab truck now. Everybody is calling DEH. And then what happened is that they were trying to respond accordingly, but then you're getting nothing done.
Right.
There's widespread damage. And I'm saying, I don't know what's up with this tropical system that just blew through, but it seemed that it came for everything that could be eaten. Mm-hmm. And that is why we're encouraging as quickly as you can cut your way through your properties to try and save as much trees as possible. Yep. But we do understand that a lot of the persons who have small yard farming, I have a constituent who have 54 trees in their yards. Mm-hmm. And you could sense the frustration, the fatigue, and we're all about the wellness part. Mm-hmm. I was able there and I understood the fatigue that they were going through yesterday. And to tell people that you can't come into their yard to help them because you are clearing roadways, they're thinking, that's my livelihood. That's how I make my money. Right. So it's having to maintain a calm head, but knowing that we're there. But I am appealing to everyone, and this goes to the wider Grand Cayman that has been more affected than our sister islands. Please, if your roads have been cleared and you have other tree clippings and branches, don't block the roads again within your residential area. Keep them within the confines of your home. And if we've done your clearing at least 2 or 3 times, give back a little bit and try to do the last load yourself.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. As we go through the breakdown, I'm reminded, Honorable Minister, what Mr. Sims shared, in that what we need to do for ourselves too. We can't wait. I mean, like, just mine is small relative to everybody else's, but I went on my property, cleaned up what I could, put it off to the side. Hopefully, out of the way, not in the road, not going to impact, garbage collection or the neighbors coming and going. At some point, it'll be taken away. But we need to do more for ourselves and not depend on government.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, this dependency on government to do everything is an issue that we have to be battling with. But not only, I want people to understand the magnitude of the work the Department of Environmental Health is conducting. Mm-hmm. Remember, we're dealing with the debris collection of these greenways. In addition to that, doing the same people who are doing that are the same ones that are getting up early to collect your garbage. Because remember, you have your regular waste that needs to be collected. Yep. Mm-hmm. So we worked extra over the weekend to ensure that we catch up. And now today is Monday. We are back on schedule, right? Despite all of that, Yeah. So with the same team, all right. Yeah. So what I've told the team, listen, we have to take a break at some point. So don't expect us to be out on Sundays.
We should not.
Right. Yeah. So we will be working from Monday to Saturday, but we'll be taking a break on Sunday so that we can rest and regroup and start again.
I'm hopeful, and again, I'll ask you, all three of you, and everybody. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm asking our people to be not just sensitive and sensible, but respectful and considerate. What if it was you? I mean, do you want a couple of minutes to drink some coconut water, maybe put your feet up? I mean, everything needs a little time to recharge. Even the phones that we stupidly have constantly with our eyes glued to it, do we need to plug them in at some point for the battery to be back up to do stuff? Right, to recharge. So does the person. And so we expecting, I mean, this morning, the guys were out there, my garbage was collected. How many of us expected that? I didn't. I'm so grateful that it was. How many of us, if it wasn't collected, grumbling, complaining, what do you mean they didn't come and get my garbage? I put that out there last night. Well, do they realize that these are the same people? So thanks, Mr. Sims, for reminding us. When we come back from the break, though, could we ask? We did reach out to the Department of Agriculture. They will get back to us. We appreciate it as much. How can we save some of these trees? Because as the Honourable Minister shared, there are some people who, that tree's been in my yard for 50 years. Yeah. That backyard farm is not just my livelihood, but that's my sustenance for my dinner table, for my health. And now it's gone. How, and if we can, and now I'm not, an agriculturist, I'm not an agronomist, I tell you the truth, I struggle between, is that an heirloom tomato or a slicing tomato? I don't know, it's a tomato, put it in my plate, I'll eat it. Some must know the difference between, a mango and a kumquat, and some must couldn't tell the difference. But maybe if we could share how to save, what do we do, and how we reach out to little things, as we invite you to stay with us. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day.
Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
20 years.
Remember when Crew Road had no median and Linford Pearson was only 2 lanes?
We do.
When Dirty Reeds was down the street?
We do.
We have been there for the falls, the growth, and the rise. When your body and mind needed to change, Powerhouse Gym has been here. We've skated with you. Your first date, your daughter's first time on skates, your son's first strike. From football to squash, to karate and hockey, to bowling and concerts, and everything in between.
For 20 years.
So much has changed, some for the good and some not so much. Through it all, King Sports Center has been here for you, for Cayman.
King Sports Center, celebrating 20 years as Cayman's home for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
When I was growing up in Cayman, Sundays was always a big day for our family. Everyone would go to Granny's house for Sunday dinner after church. Even today, I can still smell the aroma of all the delicious food we used to eat, especially the hot, fresh baked bread smothered in butter, topped off with our favorite pan cheese. These days, I don't have enough time to cook and bake, but I do my best to carry on the Sunday tradition of family meals, and being able to get hot, fresh bread with no preservatives or additives from Caribbean Bakery is a big help for me. Shh, don't tell them, they still think I baked it. Caribbean Bakery, now delivering every Sunday to McGrath's grocery store in Eastern Avenue and Marina Drive. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
Do you have plans to travel to the UK? You must provide a letter of certification from Public Health and your vaccination certificate issued in the Cayman Islands. If traveling to the UK via the Bahamas, the United States, Canada, Jamaica, or any other Amber List country. If you are traveling directly to the UK from Cayman, no letter of certification is necessary. Letters of certification may be requested by emailing vaccinecertification@hsa.ky. Travelers must attach a copy of their vaccination card as a screenshot attached to their email request. All requests will take 3 business days to process, and letters will only be issued within 3 weeks of a person's date of travel. Letters of certification are only needed if traveling to the UK via any Amber List country. Travelers to the UK coming directly from the Cayman Islands do not require a letter of certification.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks so much to Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness and the Director for Environmental Health, together with the PR officer over at Environmental Health, for reminding the public to, and this is my takeaway, work together. Be willing to be respectful, responsible and responsive. And if we're clearing it, don't clear it this morning and expect to put it out this afternoon for it to be cleared before sunset. And Mr. Sims, as we ask you for, each of you for a few more minutes so that we can remind our people. So an organized, structured cleanup going to start in West Bay next week and then move to Georgetown and then into the
Eastern districts.
Okay.
Yeah, so we want to spend at least so that we have it properly organized, where we just not doing things ad hocly. So we're organizing, putting structure to this thing. So we're going to start in West Bay next week, Monday, and we'll spend a week in West Bay to clean up whatever else is left. So we're encouraging people now, because you have today's Monday now, to organize yourself in West Bay to get your green waste, your vegetative waste out to the front of your homes, not obstructing traffic in any way. And we'll send the crews around to assist in clearing that up. And then we'll work our way the following week into Georgetown and so on. And we'll go on.
Okay. We're going to take a call before that. I just want to ask again. You've said it 1,000 times. I'll ask you to say 1,002 more perhaps. Just vegetation. So trees, Honorable Minister said bush. The things that we can't save in our yards. Are we asking the homeowners and the communities to take it, put it safely along the side of the road or our properties,
or in their
or
properties,
somewhere close to the road,
but not in the roads, please, because we've found in some cases, some subdivisions, an entire lane has been blocked, which is a hazard should there need emergency services to come in, and it's still waiting to be collected. So we're asking persons to try and keep it into their properties as much as possible, but can easily be accessed should DEH and the grab truck come into your respective district or area, or even persons like I said, elected officials do have crews all over all 19 constituencies that they have persons out there and working from Thursday.
Right, and I might, if my math is correct, 19 at 15 is 285,000. So as a country looking at the budget, this is going to cost us a lot of money. So
and the demand is there. Yeah. The demand is there. I'm getting calls. Persons are coming to the constituency office saying, I want to work, but we all had an allotment that we are able to cover X amount of persons. Otherwise, we're going over.
Okay. Respectfully, let's join this caller. See what shakes in this tree. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good afternoon to everyone, and thank you all for being on the radio and explaining things.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Very helpful.
Yes, good afternoon.
And I was wondering if any of the people from the regiment are helping you all with this?
You know, I must say a big thank you to the regiment as well, because during immediately following the storm, they were assisting with the clearing of the streets and so on. So yes, they did take part, in the early stages of the clearing of the streets.
They were in the early stages. Well, they need to be working in these present stages too.
I'm sure, we can call in.
They gave up already? They gave up already? Don't let me get burnt out that quick.
No, I wish you hadn't mentioned them, but anyway. That's a point for me.
They're supposed to be doing this and doing that.
No, ma'am. They're not for that.
Hard on that.
Anyway, I don't have time for them.
Suggestion. Don't. Like some of these taxi drivers who are being paid this stipend, or what do you call it?
Stipend?
$100 a month. Yeah. Maybe you could, some of those who are able, the able ones, the able-bodied men, why can't they do some of this, help out and do some of this work and get their pay that kind of way?
Well,
check that out.
I hear you, Mom, but sometimes it's a challenge, and I'll venture in. I mean, there's much that we can do for ourselves, and I appreciate that it's a challenging time.
I know that, but they can do some work for it too. This is what I'm saying.
Well, yes, Mom. Yes, Mom. It is not.
But it's good to give a little too. God will bless you. If you give somebody $1, you probably get $10 back. So
you untold funds returned to you.
Of this.
That's true.
Okay, thank you all for being on the radio and explaining things. But I tell you what, we really need help to have the trees cut up on our properties, because I got some humongous trees that I don't know when to live, so just cutting them up.
Yeah. Well, yes, Mom. All right.
We need some financial assistance if they can assist. Otherwise, that's all I know.
Yes, Mom. Thanks very much.
Right,
thanks very much. There's a need, Mom.
This is why it was key for me to get DEH out here, so that we could put some perspective and people don't feel like it's taken a long time or they're just not getting to us. To them, and this is why it was very important from the very onset that as elected official, the PAC government felt it was imperative to give some sort of funding so that we could hit in our respective constituencies in a timely manner to assist where we can. And I can say all kudos to the team that I had a team out there from day one Last night we were out there until 7, almost 7:30, till the mosquitoes were starting to pick us up. That's another topic, and that ministry also falls, that department also falls under my ministry. Dr. Wheeler and his crew, the unsung heroes, all of the guys, ladies and gentlemen over there at MRCU, who are going to be out fogging this evening as well. So this is why it's important for us to clear away as much vegetative debris we can, to also assist in that and get in, of course, before the sun sets, despite us being out there after dark, because it's really bad. I'm hoping by way of this platform that you will be hearing more from MRCU. I know they will be, if my memory serves me well, in the Hutland area this evening, along Poindexter and the Prospect area, not by choice, but this is where Dr. Wheeler and his crew are finding that we're having a lot, that there's almost, it's crazy almost in that area. And they're focusing a lot of attention there, but they're coming in the eastern districts as well. But this evening, Hutland, the peninsula area, some of the Mahogany area, they'll be going through with the fogging, and also in the Barkers area in West Bay. So West Bay will be covered as well with foggers, and the eastern districts, including Hutland and that sort of stuff. So there's so much things going on right now that falls within my ministry. People don't realize it. But despite that, as an elected official representing the country, and especially those in Prospect, all hands are on deck. We're doing what we can. I've personally retained the services of a grab truck to try and expedite instead of just depending on the limited resources of DEH, not because it falls within my ministry, but as the elected persons, I've sought private assistance in order to go out with a bucket truck and also we're aiming to pick up some stuff within the Adventure Street area and at the front of Cascades, moving into the Spots Newlands area as well. But I'm asking people, please, if your road has been cleared, keep it on the inside of your boundaries, but close to a fence, and we will pick it up, because we don't want to obstruct any more of the major roads.
Well, Honourable Minister, I'm glad you referenced that, because how many of us, even in this last week, but in this year, have been outside in our yards doing stuff and had to run inside because of the mosquitoes. Yet we fail to appreciate this same team is out there swathing the mosquitoes, braving everything else, right? While we're in a, thankfully.
And I'm being honest with what I got from Dr. Wheeler just before coming in here. Some of their sites where they go into the dikes have been impassable. They can't get access. So it's hard to do the measurement as we used to know where the hot spots are. But they're doing the best that they can. Once they can clear this debris, again, they're depending on resources from DEH that's being requested all over the island as well. So lessons learned in moving forward. Definitely being proactive moving forward under my watch. I hope that his budget, when passed or when come up for consideration, that we will understand. How important it is.
Okay. Well, the Honourable Minister, the Director, and the PR are so gracious with their time. We know they got to get back to other things, but with the Honourable Minister's acquiescence, we could take 2 more quick calls. And,
I don't have a pen.
No. No, you're so amenable. I know, Mom, but you got work to do.
Just getting the information out there, but yes.
And that's just the graciousness that is, Ms. Turner and Mr. Sims. Let's take this 2 callers. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello, good afternoon again.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a suggestion, a recommendation.
Yes, ma'am.
That no more waivers of fees and concessions for the rest of this year and probably for part of next year.
Sorry, ma'am?
I said I would like to make a suggestion.
Yes, ma'am.
A recommendation. No more waivers of fees and concessions for these rich people for the rest of this year and probably next year as well.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think the ones that got it, they need to step in now and throw in several $1,000s to help government with this cleanup.
Okay. Yeah.
They were given, now they need to give back.
Thank you, Mom. All right.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. One other call. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling Dwayne and Dwayne Sterling.
Thanks for making me laugh, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sims, and good afternoon, Miss Sims.
Good afternoone.
This is someone who knows us. This is someone you go way back.
Oh, the love, boy, the love.
That's a name that she can't get away from.
No, you can't get away from Sims and Sims.
Thank you.
On a serious note, I'm thinking,
yes, sir.
I don't know if you all has been up to Beach Bay area yet to see the roads in there and so forth.
I don't know. I don't know how the crews, the NRE crews, you're talking about clearing of fallen trees or just in general?
Yeah, fallen trees in the road.
NRE, I think, is working their way up that way.
You had to zigzag your way in there.
Beach Bay, you said?
Yeah, Beach Bay.
Not Best Bay.
No, Beach Bay. We're heading east.
I'm just kidding.
Because you had to, I mean, it was possible, but it was like zigzagging your way in.
Okay, I'll reach out to Minister J.E. Banks in regards to that. He's responsible for NRA, but I know their crews were out. I personally saw them yesterday. They were cutting up big palm trees that were actually obstructing the road, bigger than what my little crew of 12 could do yesterday. And they were there with their dump trucks and a little bobcat, and they were doing their stuff.
And also there is one elderly couple that lives on Arrow Street. I don't know if the member for Bordentown have actually been there or not, Bordentown East that is, but this lady had, it was a major power outage because the tree had fallen on the line and mashed it down. So we got power back for her yesterday. I made sure of that.
Good.
That's good.
But she need an assistance there to get the trees and stuff cut in the yard. She's dire needs for that.
Well, if you have the contact details for that lady, feel free to leave those details with the behind the boards.
Yeah, just
and then I will pass it on to that elected person.
Do
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Sure, I will be glad to do that.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks, man. Don't hang up. Just let us take your number. Okay, I'll take the information. All right. Hey, thanks much, man. Anything else you want to share?
No, that'll be it. Just keep up the good work, and I'm proud of you guys.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Very much so. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Another call?
Mr. Paul?
I'll take one more.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Listen, that is what is I say this with the greatest of pride, what is our political leadership, but also what is within the civil service, that responsiveness, that responsibility, and that immense respect. And for us as a community to now do our part. And at the very least, if we're going to clean our yards, do it in an organized way. Don't put it in the roads. Don't expect that it's going to happen overnight. I mean, 22,000 homes, 3 garbage trucks. The math is there.
When you look at the prospect for what we know prospect as, that's inclusion, Red Bay. It's almost 4,000 homes that we're talking about and counting.
That's just a small place.
That's just one spot.
That's just one spot.
I mean, in my neighborhood, we got one house with 15 people.
Yeah, but I must say, and I want to again take this time and thank all of the residents who came out, saw our efforts yesterday. Many of them offered water and juices to the crew, and again, they were just floored that we were out there even after sunset doing our part within that area. And this is where politics does not really belong, because we're helping. It's a community event. That's what we're doing. And we saw that in the response of the people. And I'm sure that's being felt throughout this island, as all 19 persons have been offered and is doing the same thing in their respective way, but in their own way. So I want to publicly thank my little crew, AB and Tommy and Travis. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't have gone with names, but it's so much young men, Charles, Nathan and Nathaniel, and little JJ, he's 13. And I have a mom that's there who joined us, and her daughter is less than 10, and she took up her pillow and she was sleeping in the back seat while mom was out raking and sweeping yesterday.
That's right.
And we provided lunch. We were there, and we know that our young people, and especially our young men, have the ambition. They have the leadership. They're so proud to know that they're in the presence of a minister who's on the ground. They're working with them, and it is surreal to them that, wow, this is happening. And I'm hoping that by way of this, that I can show where opportunities are there, and to prove my point that a lot of the young people are just looking for persons to give them an opportunity. And I'm happy that I could provide this outlet for them.
Well, before we ask Mr. Sims for just a reminder, if we can, from a minister, maybe, Mr. Dana, if there's any other words of encouragement, positivity, or anything else you want to share, Mom,
sure.
Floor is yours.
I was commenting that I'm the mother of 2 girls, and when we took a drive over the weekend, they saw all the trees that got damaged, and they were very sad about it. So they came out with the idea, well, Mommy, let's go and plant some trees. So let's don't forget the small ones that are there. They also want to contribute, and they're recovering and they're cleaning. So they're there for us as well.
Indeed. Together, many hands make light work.
You were talking about how we can save as much trees as possible.
Yes, well.
What I've noticed for those mango trees especially, and especially the mango trees, a lot of persons have put rope around them and tried to pull them back up and use sticks or pieces of lumber to try and get to support it, and then putting whatever soil that was there and hadn't washed away to try and save as many as possible. But we do have a lot of older persons, retired persons, who depended on these fruits and vegetables to make a living, to subsidize their income. We are aware that your needs are dire. I'm not going to take the wind out of Minister J.E. Banksale as Minister responsible for agriculture, but I'm hoping that in the coming days you will hear more from that respective ministry, not speaking on their behalf.
Yes,
but I know for sure that as a government, that is something that we're exploring to give some assistance, but more to come in the coming days in that regard.
Indeed. Mr. Simpson.
Yes, sir. I want to thank you again for inviting us. And I think it was a great opportunity to inform the public as to what we're doing and what our expectations are and their expectations of us. I want to always, as usual, thank my team, the wonderful team at the Department of Environmental Health, for the dedication to service and the commitment that they give us each and every day. And I also want to make a special thank you to the NRA for their team as well, and the kind of leadership that they have on the ground. I just want to mention two names. I know they probably don't like me mentioning them, but I have to. Mr. Ellington Forbes, one of the supervisors on the ground.
Yes.
And Mr. Wendell Scott. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
They get out there and, shoulder to shoulder.
Yes.
And so we appreciate every one of their efforts and the work that they're doing. And we'll continue to plug away. We just ask, all we're asking for from the public at this point is patience and cooperation.
That's utmost.
Right? So, and we'll get to you. It's a huge task, but we'll get it done. One job at a time.
Yeah.
I know Mr. Albert was very instrumental, and I can speak on behalf of the people down in the back of Raven Avenue and Bedrock Circle especially. He did respond to my call. I wouldn't let up, and those people are actually breathing a sigh of relief right now until we can get proper waste management sorted out for that specific community. But understand the lagging and stagnation of water over 3-4 days. I want to thank the NRA crew for that.
Yes, ma'am.
If you allow me to take the opportunity to let people know that we have reactivated the DEH Facebook page, where we are providing information, tips, and all your suggestions are welcome. We're trying to communicate with you through our inbox. So this channel is also open to you. We want to hear from you, and we want you to hear from us.
Yes. Thank you all, and thanks each of you for coming collectively as well. But to the team and for the wider community, and recognizing how we don't need to depend on government, as it were, but we have a dependable government which we can rely on. But we work together. And thanks very much for taking a few minutes. Thank you for taking extended time to share and for our public. We'll pause now and take a break. But remember, together, we're just better. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Ministry of Tourism reopens the stipend registration period, which gives displaced workers who had not yet applied the opportunity to do so. A total of 442 new applications were received, which are currently being vetted. The minister confirmed that the stipend payment to all newly approved applicants will be backdated to cover the 3-month period from July to September 2021, and payments will continue on a monthly basis thereafter. In international news, Pfizer's 2-dose COVID-19 vaccine has received full approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the first jab to be licensed in the nation. The vaccine had initially been given emergency use authorization. Its 2 jabs, 3 weeks apart, are now fully approved for those aged 16 and older. An anti-Taliban resistance group in Afghanistan says it has thousands of people ready to fight. Ali Nazari, head of foreign relations for the National Resistance Front of Afghanistan, told the BBC they want to pursue peaceful negotiations. But he added, quote, "If this fails, then we're not going to accept any sort of aggression." In May, U.S. President Joe Biden ordered a 90-day probe into whether the COVID-19 virus came from a lab accident or emerged from human contact with an infected animal. But now a disinformation campaign claiming that the COVID-19 virus originated from an American military base in Maryland has gained popularity in China ahead of the release of the U.S. intelligence report on the virus origins. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office. Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
Everybody get on the floor. This is a robbery.
Wait. Randy, that you?
Mr. Brown, get on the floor and mind your business.
Well, I tell you one thing. I ain't not been up here all day waiting in this line just for you to come up here to take the same money that I waiting on. Bobo, don't make me call your mama.
Well, it's back to school time now for my kids, and it's the only way I'm going to be able to afford all their school supplies.
But Randy, you not heard Lee's office products having a back-to-school sale, or? Come on, man. You don't need to rob no bank when Lee's giving you 15% discount on school supplies. And look at her, if you tell them Mr. Brown sent you, they will give you another 5% off. And just for shopping there, you get entered to win a new laptop, a new office desk and chair. It's a win-win, Bobo.
What are you telling me?
Boy, Randy, you better get going. Sound like CI's finest coming down the road.
For the first time in over 45 years, the University College of the Cayman Islands is having an alumni homecoming gala dinner on October 28th. The event highlights the kickoff of the UCCI Alumni Network, a community of professionals helping the university and one another. If you're a UCCI graduate, join the network today and let your fellow classmates know about it. Visit ucci.edu.ky/alumni and come give us a hand with UCCI's first ever homecoming.
Hello, Cayman. This is your Miss Cayman Islands Universe, Mariah Tibbetts. Join me and our 9 lovely contestants at this year's pageant on Saturday, September 11th at the Westin Hotel. Doors open at 6 p.m. and the show starts at 7 p.m. The tickets are available at Funky Tangs and Sand Angels. A huge thank you to our corporate sponsors, the Ministry of Tourism, Radio Cayman, Compass Media, and Cayman Airways. The journey to the crown continues.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us. And again, if you think that I'm not being impartial and objective on anything, hey, the time is now. No man is promised tomorrow. I used to say here today, gone tomorrow. Sadly, sometimes here today and gone today. But a healthy discourse, a respectful approach to dialogue and disagreement A dissenting view is what should embody a democracy. It should be that thing that somehow it may seem like it doesn't make sense, but it should be the thing that brings us together. The fact that we can sit and reason, break bread, and have a discussion and have difference of opinion and leave with the intent that we want to eagerly return to pick it up where we left off, to maybe be able to challenge our mindset and status quo, to champion the things that we believe in, to learn to live together in a sense of harmony and unity, to strengthen our communities. And with that, I'm very grateful to our public servants who have again demonstrated an untiring, a wonderful approach to serving our community, and not just in their respective roles. They tirelessly go always above and beyond the call of duty, and we see it now. And to the lady who called earlier, that recognizes that some of us have been given concessions and little things in return for the things we get. Others have received things that we may call honorariums or stipends or the like. And maybe we might say, well, you know what? I'm not really doing anything right now. I've received this thing and I don't need anything else to compensate me for it. Let me go and do it. I'll ask you this, and you guide me, because it may be that I'm naive in an attempt at being noble. Maybe I'm just blinded by the obvious. But maybe it is that we're not listening and looking and learning, and we're certainly not living and loving. But let me ask, do we want a community that is dependent on government, that's been conditioned that is going to happen only when and if the government, elected or appointed, is doing it? Or do we want a community that immediately responds to help? In fact, don't just respond, anticipate. So we're proactive. Our fathers and forefathers, and by that I mean our mothers and grandmothers and all the others in our community, were people who were visionary, people who had, by example, showed a demonstrated sense of loyalty and commitment towards the community through leadership that was embodied in a strong ethos and an ethic that asked, the very best of themselves and each other. And so they worked together. They didn't wait to be told what to do. They organized and they got it done. Now, we don't want people to trespass on other people's property. I gave us a reference earlier. Just, being on the periphery of a conversation where some people, men and women, saw, the roads being somewhat impassable and questioned, well, can we go out now and move those trees, whether they can be saved or not, but the roads are not impassable. And some say, well, you can't do that, that's private property, you might get in trouble. That was the words that we used. Others would say, well, surely, as for government to do and they'll get to it. Well, they might, but is it a priority? Think about it. We got 4 lanes, 2 in one direction and 2 in the opposite. And if one is somewhat passable, well, we mightn't get there as fast as we want, but we can still get there safely, albeit a bit more, at a slower pace. But nonetheless, we can still get there. Now, should we just go and clear it all the same because we're all hands on deck? If we organize ourselves in a way that we understand the skill sets that are required, we have a cultural ethos, a countrywide approach that we are able, whether through training under the auspices of the CERT teams, which I again find to be phenomenal. And we are a community, not just of love, but a community that is organized and understanding that, take for instance, what used to be seemingly the constant reminder of being prepared, for impending weather as the storms and the hurricanes approach. But we also had the ancestors who would make provision as they built with expectation that they would, God's willing, expand their families. They would expand their homes to accommodate the growing families. Well, they made provision. They gave thanks for what they had as they took the provisions, from the ground to feed the family as they joined in hands in prayer at the dinner table. They also shared that with their neighbors, not expecting anything in return, but knowing that good follows good. But where are we now? We're choosing, the gun and the gold over the love and the soul? Well, talk to me. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. You want to WhatsApp? 925-3261. You can do that as well. It's about working together. It's about recognizing that too much is given, much is required, and that much does not necessarily have to be a material, monetary worth. It's about being present. It's about being willing to willingly do something positive and productive, to leave an indelible impression on others, the minds of young people, as well as the physical impact that leaves a lasting legacy. But it also means standing in the gap, standing in your own, not because you're dogmatic, but because you're determined and resolute and you're prepared to do the right thing. There are many of us who want to be leaders, but at the sight of anything different, they're the first to cower and run. They're the first to, sort of take the path of least resistance because they're looking at the accolades that would come should they, not go with the tide. Sometimes you got to swing against the current, Isn't it that the salmon swims upstream? No, we don't always have to be contrary, but we always can't be willing to just abide. Well, tell me your thoughts. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. It's just a Monday. This month of August is almost about over. But what will the year end and look like? What is tomorrow? Promises for us. And what are we doing today to make it that much better? Not just for us, but for each other. We'll pause and take a short break. When we come back, we want to share your thoughts with us. Please do so. Call us on the Flow toll-free line at 1-800-534-8255 or WhatsApp 925-3261. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a non-for-profit member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. Chamber Pension has an all-in expense ratio of 0.72% over 16,000 members, $430 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s. And today, we are still strong, secure, and are here for employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or request further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Grand Cayman Civil Service Association members, present and retired. The final backpack distribution day is Saturday, August 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you have not collected your 2 backpacks previously, then this is your opportunity. Just a reminder, members, please check your salary slip or HR person to assure your membership fee is updated. Retirees, check your records for your 2020-2021 fee receipt. Please bring an ID for collection. And if you are collecting for another member, please bring a signed note and copy of their ID as well. That's the final backpack distribution day, Saturday, August 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We hope to see you then. CISA, members serving members.
The CISA office is located upstairs Hospital Road Plaza. Welcome, everybody. Good evening to you. Welcome to the Miss Teen Pageant.
The Lions Club and Leo Club of Grand Cayman presents the 40th staging of the Miss Teen Cayman Islands Pageant on Saturday, August 28th at the Lions Center. Be there to cheer on these 9 beautiful ladies as they represent their district and vie for the title of Miss Teen Cayman Islands. This is a pageant you don't want to miss. So come and show your support for your favorite contestants Saturday, August 28th at the Lions Center. Gates open at 5 p.m. with showtime at 7 p.m. sharp. Admission is $25 prepaid or $30 at the gate. Limited premium tickets cost $40. Tickets are available at EventPro, Winner's Circle, Funky Tanks, or from the contestants and Lions members. Sponsored by Digicel, Winner's Circle Sports, CUC, King Sports Center, Finishing Touch, and Radio Cayman.
Are you a transportation provider or tour operator on land or sea? Take your skills to the next level by attending the free Aquila Driver Excellence course. Learn more about how to deliver excellent service and make sure your passengers are safe. But hurry, as there are only 2 sessions remaining. Wednesday, 25th of August at 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and Wednesday, the 1st of September from 1:30 to 3 p.m. You can attend online via Zoom or in person at the Pride Training Room. Deadline to register is the Monday before each session. For more information or to book your session, head to aquila.ourcayman.ky. That's aquila.ourcayman.ky. Once again, that's aquila.ourcayman.ky. Don't miss out on this free internationally recognized training brought to you by the Ministry and Department of Tourism.
Remember to discard all fresh fruits and vegetables, meats, all foods in canisters, dented, leaking or rusting cans after they have come in contact with floodwater. Also discard foods that are stored in cardboard boxes, paper foil, cellophane, and cloth, as well as those in open containers and packages. For more post-hurricane food safety tips, visit DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us as we invite you to be a part of the remaining, few minutes left in today's production as we invite you to call and share your thoughts with us. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. There was a voice note that came in a little bit while our last guests were on. Again, a special thanks to the Honorable Minister and the Director of Environmental Health with their PR officer for joining us. And again, on their behalf, maybe invite and ask our public specifically as we go about cleaning up our respective neighborhoods in our homes. Now, we try to help ourselves as best as we can, utilize whatever resources we may have to complement, whatever it is that the government is going to deploy in order to safely and in an organized way do it. Appreciate that we can help ourselves as we help each other. And if we're clearing, our properties from the fallen trees, and as the Honourable Minister said, in as colloquial manner as possible, the bush and the vegetation. And as the Director, Mr. Sims, reminded us, for now, it's just vegetation. No household garbage, no appliances and furniture and the like. We just want the vegetation from the yards. And if any of the trees, whether they're ornamental or fruit-bearing, or otherwise, if we can find a way to save them, obviously we will, and let's try to. Maybe there's a need for, some sort of bulldozer or other piece of heavy equipment to come along, even might help to, right the trees and put them back in order. The excellent staff over at the Department of Agriculture can obviously assist with advice. There are many in our communities who have the knowledge and experience and expertise to literally lend a hand, whether as the Honourable Minister shared. We prop them up with pieces of lumber, with some rope, and try to safely, right the trees so that they can again take root. But as we are unable to save the trees, I can say, because he's made it a public, sort of appeal, the artistic creative, that is the Ray Banker, and the real bankers of the world would love if you have it. He'll take it away. Those big, trees where there's, large trunks that he could use in his art projects. Reach out to Ray and others like him who may want to reuse them. Maybe you might take an example and be inspired by some of it instead of just carting it off, to the landfill to be, reused for mulch, as the director shared. You might be able to repurpose it in some way in your yards for fencing, for a table, for some artistic thing, for potential stepping stones, as it were, stepping logs, stepping wood, stepping honors, well, in some way. Now, as the director shared, not only is it just the vegetation that we want, but it's going to take it and collect it from the various sites that have been now organized throughout the districts, and from there send it to the central landfill for eventual processing to be used as mulch. That again we can get freely. We just come with our containers to collect it once it's processed, and we can take it back and use around our plants and our gardens and the like. Helps with the moisture, get the plants to once again take root. But if we take a page from what we used to do, even for ourselves, that we can remember in recent memory, but we also have heard and seen and witnessed following Hurricane Ivan for a short time anyway, but we know was the ethos, that accepted practice of our people, not unlike other people's in other societies. We help ourselves, we help each other. We don't need to wait for some government entity to roll in and do stuff. We can do it together. We're smart enough, we're resilient enough. We not only have the resolve, but we have the good common sense and the work ethic and approach to help each other. So whether it's the roads in our subdivisions or it's the roads that are cleared, now do not go out with down power lines whether you think they're energized or not. Just allow that, for the competent professionals that is the electric utility company to come in and do that. And I think we've seen the line crews and the teams, from CUC in particular, but including, the telecoms and the water who've come out. But the electric company, their team, higher winds that are still safe to work in, the rain, and they've come and they've not only erected the light poles and restrung the lines so that we can have electricity to our homes, so that we can retreat safely and watch what I call the one-eye monster, as my friend Mike always refers to it, the idiot box, and endlessly and numbly perhaps distract ourselves from the trials and tribulations that is our lives these days, but safely and comfortably in air-conditioned homes watching this thing. Hey, that's fine, but that's because of the sacrifice of the teams over at the electric utility energizing the lines again and connecting us with our electricity so we can do just that. And we owe them a debt of gratitude. It doesn't matter that they are getting paid for it, whether handsomely or overtime or otherwise. They're still doing their jobs, and they're doing their jobs in a way that demonstrates, just like the civil service, that they love their jobs, that they see it as something that they take pride in, and a national sort of call to duty. And that is what I think separates this country in many ways, because we immediately respond. Now, if we're offended by this next comment, let's think about it. There's some of us who will sit and wait for others to do it, or who will only do something because, well, we're going to be paid for it, and we're only going to be willing to do it if we're going to be paid for and handsomely rewarded for so doing. We may look at it and say, well, this is normally $1 to do this, but because of the times, it's now $10. We may not see that as extortion. We may see it as being good capitalists, and it probably is. Then there are those of us, thankfully, who will say, you know what, this is an expensive undertaking, but don't worry, we'll cover the cost. You don't have to pay for it. Not because they're generous, not because they're wealthy, not because they're looking at any sort of recognition. There are those who are, and fall in all those categories, but because they can and they want to, and they recognize that this is what they do in order to return some of the good that they've received, knowing that it'll come back to them, tenfold, if not more, if not directly to them or directed to them at that time, but it will return. What always talks about good following good, and that's where we need to be in a time like this, because this is indeed a changed world. It's not unprecedented. We've heard that too often now. It's almost become a cliche. There's nothing new under the sun. What is unprecedented is perhaps the cowardice in which many of us seem to respond, or failure to speak up and to think and to act positively and productively, to ask questions and to stand their ground when we know that it's the right thing to do. But instead, we abdicate our responsibility and then we grumble and complain quietly. We're not people who are coward. We're not people who run and hide at the slightest sound of boo. Let's not be frightened by the boogeyman. Let's stand together in a healthy, safe way, in a civilized manner, to make sure that we strengthen our communities by working together. And as the Honourable Minister shared, we can achieve much by working and respecting and responding and appreciating that. With all hands on deck, it makes it easier. Always think back to watching the boats launch as a child. There was much discussion. Some would say read argument. Probably so. But that was a healthy debate as to how it was that the boat can be launched in the safest way. After all the work to build it, or to repair it, or to refurbish, or to do whatever it was that it needed to be done before she was put back into the water. It was a day where it was the bamboo rollers and a rope, and at least my recollection, young men. The community was gathered, the boat was being launched in the back of there somewhere, and the bamboo rollers were there, the boat was chalked up, and ropes were on her, and they were ready to, splash. But they wanted to do that safely. It wasn't about a rush. They had a healthy discussion as to what was the best way, who should be where, how it should be done. And then when she was launched, she was going to float, and then they would take a maiden voyage. And with that, level of cooperation and discussion, the boat was launched and she set sail. Well, that's what we need to return to. All hands on deck working together to achieve the best desired outcome for as many as possible. Now, some people will look at it and want all the credit, but at the same time, if they were the ones responsible, if it didn't go right, they probably would have been the first to stand up and say, you know what, I was prepared to take the credit for it, but it didn't go right. Well, the blame and the buck stops here. And that's where we need to get back to. Those are the people who are the ones who, by example, lead and demonstrate a level of competence and an ethos that accepts responsibility, because they'll be willing to be held accountable. And because they have the authority vested in them to do the right thing, they recognize that is why they are at the helm. Whether the mastermind are taking the ship out from the port, or whether they're the person on the ground doing that thing which must work. Well, as the week unfolds, I trust and pray that we'll be a productive part of each day. We can disagree as long as we do so in a civilized way, or we can come alongside and champion the things that we believe need that dissenting voice on which to do so. But if you close your eyes and bury your heads in the sand, don't be surprised if you're six being exposed. Then, you know what happens then. Hey, tomorrow is another day. We invite you to be a part of our talk today, right after the midday news and midday meditation. Trust and pray that you'll continue to be safe, healthy in your body, spirit, and mind, and recognizing that through your hands, through your time, talent, and treasure, that you can indeed contribute much to our society. And as you do so, don't look for the reward or recognition, but do it because, your heart is pure and your hands are clean. Until tomorrow, my friends, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside.